Hey guys and girls, how's it going? Chito Hadings here for yet another review of a French lens. This one sent all the way from France by Justin Bacle. Wait, is there a French way to say your name? Please correct me. Anyway, it's a long and heavy projection lens, so you know what to expect. Let's go. This was a challenging shoot. The setup was pretty heavy, regardless of how light the Sony naturally is, because the Dyaliscope is heavy. Focus was also stiff, so I did some modding to a Rectilux hardcore DNA in order to get single focus. When I had this setup mounted onto the 135mm taking lens, a passerby could claim I was shooting close-ups through a telescope, and not in a good way. Overall, the image looks diffuse to me, and the highlights really bloom even when stopped down. It's not necessarily a bad bloom, but it's bloom nonetheless. Bokeh gets quite smeary when wide open, giving a dreamy look that could be useful depending on the project. The Dyaliscope Champion is a 2x stretch projection lens that's heavy and long. It's not the heaviest nor the longest of the French batch, but still bad. The lens weighs 620 grams, which is over 1.5 pounds. It has no front threads, but at least it features 60mm regular rear threads, which allows you to use regular step rings or get a reasonable clamp for it, like a Rapido clamp. And at this weight, at this load, I highly recommend mounting this on rails for shooting because you're going to be putting a lot of stress on the mount. The front is large, so large that your only option here for clamps is to 3D print your own. And it's actually so large they would not fit a regular Rectilux hardcore DNA that I had to work with a friend from here, Victor Propokowicz, to mill out pieces of the back of the Rectilux in order to make it fit not only this lens, but his Kowa 175, for which I have videos coming up, so stay tuned. Anyway, back to the Dyaliscope. It is pretty big, and unless you're willing to do all of this modding to a Rectilux or a single focus solution, your best option is to 3D print a clamp and use regular diopters. The price range for these on eBay is wild. I've seen them for as low as $150 and as high as $400. And if that's for the whole setup ready for shooting with like a front clamp, rear clamp, rail mount and everything, that's okay, but $400 just for this lens is a bit far-fetched. The Dyaliscope shows consistent performance through the entire range of lenses I tested. It displays similar results on similar apertures regardless of focal length. That's a positive thing. And the edges aren't as bad as most scopes. The flares are one of the highlights. Hey, did you get it? Flare, highlights. Anyway, one of the highlights of this lens with shiny yellow colors and a good variety of elements, and it kind of reminds me of the Iviscope. Vignetting on this one is worse than the Hypergunner I showed last week. This one shows intense dark edges at 50mm on Super 35 crop, which is concerning, and only clears at 85mm, which means the threshold for getting 2.4:1 clear on full frame with this lens is above 100mm. The frame is clear of any vignetting at 135mm on Super 35, which is just over 200mm on full frame. Just like last week, this lens fuels my disliking for projection lenses. They're a necessary evil in a market that has very few new offerings to address all of the issues that this lens has. This forces new shooters to hash through a bunch of things that are repurposed, and many of them are less than ideal, like this lens. And don't get me wrong, you can make this lens work for you and in a production setting. It's just I don't think it's worth the effort. You can Like, it's a lot of effort for just okay results. Whew! I've been really going at it after projection lenses on these last videos, eh? I shot all of these reviews almost like in a row over the same week. So I was constantly struggling with different problems and different issues, and all of them related to how heavy and how big and how impractical these solutions were. So after that little bit, I was kind of hating shooting anamorphic. It's not fun to get a good look if the whole process is crappy. On that note, next week things are better, so subscribe to hear more about the Molar Anamorphic 32/2x, and don't forget to hit the like button. And if you have any comments or you disagree with my harsh remarks about projection lenses, please let me know in the comments below, and we shall talk about it. Out.